much larger turnout than is expected, and about 4,000 people are said to have been waiting outside in line in the cold to try and get into the Bella Center.
No to globalization! U.S. imperialists!
So it's day one of the second week of the climate change conference here in Copenhagen, and tensions are boiling, especially between those developed and developing nations.
I'm having a baby. I'm so concerned about its future. Well, it's a sweater.
Oh, it's a sweater. We sat down with Ed Miliband, who's the Secretary of Energy and Climate Change for the UK, just one country that is pledging billions to those poorer countries bearing the brunt of climate change.
What's different about Copenhagen, and what in a way makes a degree of difficulty higher, is that we're trying to get every country to make a commitment: China, India, as well as the US and Europe. So I think there's a chance of doing that. I think it's what's needed, because if we have only developed countries taking action, we're never going to solve the problem. We need everyone to be in this together, and that's what we're striving for.
Well, let's talk specifically about small island nations.
But the most important thing we can do is to reduce our emissions. The real worry for those countries is the 1.5, 2, 3 degrees world, which is going to really imperil their safety. And they face a real choice between life and death, not just for people. That's important, but for the country as a whole, and that should, I think, drive and inspire lots of people to think we have to act.
Despite Ed Miliband's enthusiasm for the commitment, the leading voice of the Alliance of Small Island States, Dessima Williams, is saying it's simply not enough.
Are we saying we are willing to ignore the survival of some of our members? The bottom line is that the pledges on the table are insufficient. Since these necessary reductions are feasible and within our grasp, to do anything less would be morally unconscionable. Mr. Chairman, a failure to produce more ambitious commitments in the coming days, to put it bluntly, would be to endorse the loss of millions of lives. Millions of people are waiting expectantly for assurances that their governments are acting responsibly in the face of the greatest threat to our planet. We are able to conclude our work in Copenhagen, and we must do so.
Inside, tensions were mounting, but outside they actually bubbled over as thousands convened in the streets of Copenhagen in the largest climate change rally in history.
This demo was incredibly successful, mostly because an unbelievably diverse collection of organizations came together to do it.
Where are you guys from?
From South Korea. I am participating in the protest.
Excuse me, is that a mustache against climate change?
Of course it is.
With this climate demonstration that happened on Saturday, we had everybody from pretty radical groups all the way to very conservative groups. And it was a bit of a difficult process, but it was well worth it. We only thought maybe 20,000 people would come out, but we had 100,000 people. It's that important. Climate change is that important.
Why do you think it's so important to bring your children to this?
Because it's their future anyway. It's not me to inherit this planet.
This demonstration was one of the largest demonstrations ever in the history of Denmark, and for a demonstration of its size, the most peaceful demonstration they've ever had in their history.
Who are you?
We're the Climate Debt Agents from Action Aid International.
And what does that mean?
That means that we want to collect the debt from the rich countries to the poor.
And you can hear every different language. People from all over the world have gathered in hopes of reaching a climate deal here at the UN conference. Quite late here in Copenhagen. People are just getting out of the plenary discussions now, and with no deal yet on the table, we know they'll be back tomorrow to come to an agreement. Ed Miliband, when we spoke to him yesterday, he seemed quite excited about the fact that they're giving billions, the UK and other developed nations are giving billions to developing nations, but you seem to think it's not enough. Why is that?
Yeah, as I said before, we welcome the start of it, but the truth of the matter is that it's It's really such a small amount for 100 countries over 3 years. So we are happy to be engaged. We are not happy with what we are getting, but we are going to fight right in there to the end. My Prime Minister is coming in less than 25 hours, and I cannot tell him that there is nothing for him to do, nothing for him to sign. I know the developing countries, we have invested millions of hours, millions of dollars. We want the results that we need, and I think Ed Miliband understands that and can convey that to his government. So I'm going to high-five him anytime I see him. If that's going to lift him, we're ready to give him that lift.